it's Edna here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new and you haven't done so already, click on the link below to subscribe so that way you can be kept up to date with any new posts coming up on my channel. So I'm going to show you how I make my cinnamon protein balls. They're really delicious, they're very quick, easy to make, and they make a great snack as a post-workout snack or just a snack throughout the course of the day. If you want to see how I make them, keep watching. As you can see, I'll be using a food processor to mix my protein balls. You'll need some cinnamon for the extra bit of sweetness. It is optional. Whatever protein powder that you're going to use is already sweet, you don't need to use cinnamon, or you can use any other sweetener of choice. This is cinnamon. As you can tell, I reuse jars just because there's just no point in throwing them away. And I'm using cashew butter today, but you can use any nut butter of choice. And then I've got oats, and as you can see at the back, I'm using my Protein World Slender Blend as my choice of protein powder. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the whole jar of the nut butter inside the food processor. So all of the cashew butter is now in a food processor, and I've literally just washed this because in order to get the right consistency to make your protein balls, the trick is to use equal amounts of oats and your nut butter of choice and your oats. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in all of the oats inside the jar so that way I can have equal amounts as to what was inside the jar into the food processor. Now that's all incorporated, I'm going to put cinnamon inside. You can be you can use as much cinnamon as you want because the whole purpose of this is for it to have that cinnamon taste. So I've just put in a tablespoon worth of cinnamon, and then I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of maple syrup, which for me is enough sweetness. Oops. And then I'm going to grab 4 scoops of this protein powder, which works to be about 40 grams in total. Now that all of the ingredients are inside the blender, all you're going to do is turn on the blender and you will see I put mine on high. Perfect. So that's all ready to go. Let's take that off. Take off the lid. I'm gonna grab a plate. So you can see from just looking, it looks a bit grainy, but once you start turning them into balls, they will have that nice thick look to them. First of all, I'm just going to take out the blade Be careful, you don't want to cut yourself because these are quite sharp. Don't want to lose much of my nut butter either. What you're going to do is, before you start taking them out with your hands, you're just going to give it one last mix to make sure that you've got everything. You can transfer this into a bowl, but I'm trying to avoid having too much dishes, so just going to do it in here. Just be gentle with it because this is plastic. I don't know about yours if it's glass, but you do want to be reasonably careful. So now I'm just going to grab a spoon. Want your hands slightly wet when you grab these, because then it makes it easier for you to start rolling them up. Just grab a spoon. I try to make them small, but you can make them whatever size you want. I'm not fussed for uniformity because it's just me that's going to eat them and don't need them to be that decorative. But as you can see, just from that alone, it's quite thick. So you don't want it too much like breadcrumbs, but you also don't want it too oily in the sense of you've used too much nut butter and not enough oats, because otherwise what's going to happen is this is going to be too runny when you leave it overnight and it wouldn't have set. So at the moment I'm just placing them all in a plate, and then what I will do is I will place them in an airtight container, so that way they would have had time to set. See, these are the completed protein balls. They're all bite-sized. And you can see that they're not falling apart or crumbling, which is just what you want. Now I'm going to place them inside this airtight container to put them in the fridge for a few hours, so they're all ready to eat. Now let's have one for ourselves, right? Absolutely delicious. So I've just taken these protein balls out of the fridge, and you can see that they set quite nicely. As you can see, even I'm squeezing it and it has already gone hard. Now these are good enough to eat, so I will show you what it looks on the inside when it's all nice and set. Really nice, set quite nicely, and you can taste a lovely cinnamon flavour.